Goldylocks Productions provides professional internet, TV, and radio shows in the spiritual and New Age genre.
And welcome to the Connecting with Show. I'm Betty Jane. I do have a guest tonight. Her name is Liz Worth, and she has written an amazing tarot book. And as soon as she arrives, we will start a conversation with her. Of course, as always, I have some things to tell you about what's going on in my life. And right now, it is all about the Kitchener-Waterloo Psychic Fair that is this weekend coming. Of course, at Benjamin's in Kitchener-Waterloo. If you're interested in coming, check out my website. There is a coupon there for it, and you can get some money off your admission. And as always, I will be offering readings, and I am in booth A2, right beside Goldylocks' own Dennis, and we will be he is going to be in the booth beside me, so we'll try and keep out of trouble, but no promises there. And then we have, what else will I have to, after that? I've got so much going on. The weekend after that, I'm doing a one-day tarot intensive here in Toronto. So if you're interested, check out my website. It should be there. And also on my website is that sneak thing I've been telling you about, giving you those little tidbits of information for. I am doing a week-long intensive. So this is Raising Your Psychic Vibration, and it's in Glastonbury, UK. And we'll be staying in lovely cottages, old workers' cottages, the old workers' cottages. They've been beautifully restored. And we'll be utilizing the beautiful courtyard, and we'll do morning meditations. We'll be wandering up to the Abbey and into Chalice Well and the White Spring, up the Tor, over to Stonehenge and Avebury, some of my most favorite mystical places in the world. And then we will be going to, and then we'll be finishing off with a labyrinth workshop and things like that. The other thing we're going to be doing, of course, it's England, so you can't go to England without having an authentic fish and chip dinner. And we're going to do this at one of the most the longest running, I believe, in the UK, and the longest running with one family. So we'll be going to Night's Fish and Chips in Glastonbury. And of course, no trip to England, of course, is complete without a pub crawl. So we will incorporate that as well. We will be doing things like learning how to use a crystal ball. We will be learning how to read tea leaves. There's going to be working with your spirit guides. So you'll actually get to sit down and have a chat with your very own spirit guide, which we all have. So you'll be able to do that. And the other thing that we'll be doing is actually learning how to read tarot properly. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have my special guest, because she's made this wonderful book, and it's so comprehensive. And I think next to my book, this would be one of the best ones out there. Of course, I'm going to say next to mine, right? So yeah, it's kind of cool. And I know we've got people calling in, and I know we've got a lot going on tonight. So I really want everybody to take that turn, call in, press 1 to speak to the caller, and just to be aware that we only take calls when your number pops up. So if it comes up private number or something like that, you're probably not going to get on air. So if that's so just, let us know so that we can get you into the queue and on the air tonight. So I am going to be talking about this lovely girl named Liz. Liz Worth I met her a couple of weeks ago. I was downtown Toronto, and I was in Kensington Market, and they were doing an independent publishing fair where a lot of authors and people had gone, and they were selling their books. And I wandered around the fair thinking, what are the odds? There's got to be at least one tarot book here, one pagan book, one something. And I wandered around, and I think that was probably the first or second table I stopped at. And I saw this wonderful book, Going Beyond the Little White Book. And I got to tell you, I read a lot of books on tarot. You can't see my bookshelf in behind me, but it is full of books. Well, actually, it's behind you. It's full of books, and it's a million tarot books and witchcraft books and things like that, and probably literally that much. And I started reading this, and I have to admit, I get to a certain point of a tarot book, and I kind of go, been there, done that. I've seen that before. This book, I didn't. I actually, this is really cool. And I just kind of kept going and kept going. And I really liked it. And I thought, geez, this is so different. It's a little more unique than anything that else that's out there, and there's very interesting. I was talking tonight to somebody. We were talking about reading tarot, and she goes, you know, sometimes I look and it seems like what I see and what I hear, it doesn't make any sense at all compared to what other people are saying about the card. And I said, yeah, but that's sort of the point. Anybody can go and sit in the reading and read the book on tarot. It's how you interpret the cards. That's what they're paying for. That's what they want to hear. And she went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So that was kind of cool. And now I look at it and I'm looking at this, and instead of keywords, it's like key phrases. So under the Two of Pentacles, which is what I pulled through, she's got Two of Pentacles, whatever it takes. And then she's got like an intention and a mantra, and, you know, when it appears and what's going on. And then it goes on to different types of things, like if it's in a challenging position and how it might manifest in a career reading or a relationship reading, other possibilities, and how it might manifest as a challenge, and how it might be a good thing overall, and then questions to consider about each and every card. Now remember, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck, so that's a lot of questions, but it's so cool. I love and I just found it very interesting. And, you know, you figure that with, of course, it's 78 cards. Like I said, everybody looks at it differently and has different situations and how it works. And that's going to continue on. But this is something I really do appreciate and like this book. So I can't wait for her to join us live. And I know she's sitting in the green room right now, and I can't wait for her to be on. And that's going to happen in just a few seconds. Apparently not. We're just going to hold on for a second.
Oh, sorry.
My husband just came down and passed me a note, and I have no idea what he's talking about.
I'm on Facebook. I can't find you.
So it's kind of cool that these things happen. The interesting thing is, I find that with any type or part of your life, we have people come into and out of our lives for a reason. And I think that spirit guides us to the people that we're meant to meet. So I think that when I went and met her at that fair, it was kismet. We were supposed to meet together. And there's a really interesting story behind that. But when we were emailing back and forth this week about doing this, there was some really interesting things came up. I have to say, the other thing I do, as most of you know, is, by the way, if you're having a problem here, go to my website and click on the link on my website, and you'll probably find me that way. If you can't find me the other way, and remember, my phone number to connect with me is 416-894-2602. or my website at www.bettyjaneware.com. And remember that that's always the best way to do it. As I was saying, last night we did a labyrinth workshop, and we had, it was funny, it was just two of us, and it was so nice. And I think that it was the first time in a long time I was able to actually walk my own labyrinth, and I haven't done that for a while. I've been doing the workshops, and everybody's been ready to go when we get there. And so I haven't actually done that before. So that was kind of cool. So, yeah, Liz isn't the only one having issues with video. Apparently it's not tuning in on some of the feeds, Tiffany, just so you know. That happens. Liz, are you here? Welcome. Hello. Hello, Liz. Hi, Liz. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I've been telling everybody how wonderful you are. I've been really enjoying your book.
Thank you.
So, first of all, I want you to introduce yourself to our callers and our listeners, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah. Well, my name is Liz Ware, and I am a Toronto-based tarot reader and astrologer. I've been working with both since about 2008, and I'm also a writer. So a lot of my work all comes together with that, and that's actually how you and I met, as you know, through my tarot book. So yeah, I mean, I really use these things as tools just to help people find clarity in their lives, to help, get unstuck, really to figure out whatever it is they need to figure out, right? That's always a situation that we find ourselves in at any point in time. We're always kind of asking, what do I need to know about next? What do I need to be focusing on? And I find that both tarot and astrology can be really helpful in understanding what our priorities can be at any given time, or what themes or energies we might need to be aware that we'll be moving through. Okay.
So I've been reading your book. I find it's amazing. I like the depth it goes into. I like the little catchphrase between each, like I have the Tower, surrender to the storm. You've got an intention. You've got a mantra. You've got questions. You've got, how it appears, where it appears, and things like that. And I find that's really awesome. But I'm listening to you, and you talk about the astrology, and I'm not very far into the book, I have to admit, but I'm not seeing a lot of astrology in here.
Yeah, with this book, so this book is called Going Beyond the Little White Book, A Contemporary Guide to Tarot. And really what I wanted to do with this at first was, whenever we buy a tarot deck, right, it comes with that little white book. And the little white book is supposed to tell you what the cards mean, but it's really, these things are very minimal, right?
Yes.
And there are a lot of really great tarot resources out there. But I just felt that, the books that I had used to study tarot myself all the time didn't feel like they really helped me to understand the context of the cards. And, over time in working with tarot, I'd have a lot of people ask me, about how they could interpret cards for different situations. Whenever I'd be teaching a tarot workshop, people would have a lot of questions about what certain cards meant in certain situations. And because they're not always, the Suit of Pentacles, which we typically connect to themes of work and money, might come up in a relationship reading when someone's just asking, how's my date going to go this weekend, right? And so sometimes people, tarot can be confusing that way because you see cards that you're not expecting to show up within a certain situation. And I just had, so many different experiences in how tarot can show up in people's lives. I really wanted to collect it all together and put it into one place. So there isn't as much astrology in this one. I do connect the core cards to astrology, to different signs of the zodiac in Going Beyond the Little White Book. So that's really where you'll see some of the astrological connections there. My follow-up to Going Beyond the Little White Book looks a lot more at using tarot in correspondence to certain astrological elements that we're moving through on a yearly basis. So if you like this book and then you want to kind of dive in further, you're looking for more things like specific tarot spreads and that kind of thing, then that will be my next project. Oh, cool.
And so when can we look forward to this? Do you have a date yet?
Yeah, that's also the question, right? I mean, I'm hoping, it's hard for me to say because, anytime I'm writing something, with writing, books tend to have a life of their own, and sometimes we work on these projects and we have ideas of when we want them to come into being, but they tend to do a lot of the driving. So my hope is that I will have it out sometime around the fall of 2018. Okay. But don't hold it against me if it's a little bit later, although you never know, it's always the sooner.
Oh, absolutely. I've been working on book 4 in my series for 2-3 years now, so the first 3 came really easily, and then I sort of went, ugh. So I get that totally. So we do have a bunch of callers who are waiting eagerly to ask us questions. So how about we take a call?
Sure.
Okay, so caller number 256, please, Roz. Roz is what I call Tiffany, just so you know.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Kimberly, and I'm from Georgia. How are y'all?
Good, thanks. And how can we help you this evening, Kimberly?
Well, I am in a job right now that is particularly disconcerting, and I am looking for another job. And I'm just wondering, what do you get with that?
Okay. Would you like to go first, Liz?
Oh my gosh. You want me to go first? Can you go first?
Absolutely. 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 I'm going to ask a question though, Kimberly. What are you doing right now? I don't need to know where you're working. I just need to know what sort of job.
Right now, I teach.
Okay.
That's what I do, and I am burnt out on that.
Yeah, because I get that you're supposed to be with people. Teaching doesn't necessarily feel right, but it just feels tired, maybe. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Just overwhelmed. A lot of.
Yeah.
What age do you teach?
I teach high school students.
Oh God!
So anywhere from 9th to 12th grade.
Bless you. Oh, please bless you. Yeah, I can see why. You know what? I've not been a teacher, but I've raised kids, and I just, you know what? I cannot see a room through. I cannot fathom a room full of teenagers and hormones and energy. So bless you. Very interesting. The card I pulled for you was Justice. What do you think of that, Liz?
Oh, that's so interesting. I'm sitting here pulling cards as well.
Yeah.
And I have something very different. I pulled two cards because one of them was one that just popped out. So I have actually the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups.
Okay.
That are both here. Yeah, and so these are really different energies from Justice.
Yeah.
But I think to combine them all, it makes me think with sometimes with Justice, you don't. We have to remember that we don't always get what we want, we get what we need.
Yeah.
And I find that the Justice card can show up sometimes when it kind of says you really have to look at what your needs are at this time and make a decision from there. It's like you have to treat your needs as facts in your life. What is your reality? If you're feeling burned out right now, right, then that's probably something that Justice is saying you can't really put off.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it. You can't keep pushing through. You've got to deal with this now, and you have to be the one to make the decision around what's best for you at the time.
Yeah.
So we have these. Yeah. You want to jump in?
No, I was just gonna say you have to sort of make the decision and stick with it. It's you've pulled extra cards, and you can clarify a little bit. But Justice is really about making a decision and knowing that it's the right one for you. And what I'm hearing too is you've made the decision, you just haven't acted on it.
No, I've made the decision, and I've been applying for other jobs.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to hear.
Okay. So what were the two cards you pulled there, Liz?
I have the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups.
Oh.
Which makes me think like both of these cards make me think of fulfillment. They make me think that you're moving towards this time where you are going to be able to feel like you're getting like that breath of fresh air that you really need. Because also when I see the pages, they also connect to new beginnings.
So that tells us not to give up, because that new job that you're applying for, it's just around the corner.
Okay.
You're going to hear. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
That's very funny when we pull out different cards, but the message is you're going to get what you need.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you both.
You're welcome. Bye.
Welcome.
Isn't that cool though? It's like, even though we all pull different cards, and we do because we're different and our energy works differently, but it's ultimately, that she's got to make a decision, which she hadn't really told us that she'd done, but she has, and that she, the decision is she's sticking with it really until she gets an offer, and then she'll move on. And then you got the cards to sort of say she's going to get that offer. So that's kind of cool. Okay, we have another caller, please, Roz. And then I have a question for you, Liz. A question from Roz, actually. So if we could have next caller, 805, please, Roz.
Hi,
Hello.
thank you. Hi, this is Donna. How are you?
We're great, Donna. How are you?
Good, thanks. But, you know, I hear a lot of messages from the other side, and I heard my mom say to me a couple weeks ago, you're going to be rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brother said something about honoring me or something. I don't know what that's all about. And then when my nephew died, he said it was an honor to meet you. And I get the messages in my head. And then I was playing the Powerball, and I got 4 of the numbers, and the last number, I was going to put 1 or 4, and I put 1. If I put the 4, I would have won the $14,000.
Oh, no.
So I missed out on that. I know. But is there something else coming in for me? Because I had 2 dreams with my mom on the other side, too, and we're celebrating, and we're so joyful and happy. And I mean, it was definitely her.
But, you know, it's funny what you consider a reward. Does it have to be financial? Sometimes reward is just that day to for me, it's just that day to myself when nobody else is around. It's the treat I give you my day off.
I have that all the time.
No, I understand that, but maybe we're not appreciating that as a reward is what I'm saying. So it depends on your definition of reward. If you're looking for a specific reward, if you want the jackpot or the lottery, well, that's probably not the reward she's sending you. If that makes sense. What do you think, Liz?
Well, I pulled a card for this one, and it's you know, it's really interesting that you kind of mentioned that you know, that time off, right? Day off to yourself, because the card that I have is the 4 of Swords, which is a card of stillness.
Mm-hmm.
So this is making me think that, you know, what's coming through as that reward is actually going to be some kind of insight. You know, it's going to be some, you know, it could be a spiritual insight. It could be, you know, a further message or something that really continues to deepen your connection with your mother, that really helps it solidify it. Because this feels almost almost like a spiritual card for me as I'm looking at it here. And it's just making me think it's like you're like feeling your connection with her. You know, you're continuing this unbreakable bond. Yeah. So I was just paying attention to those dreams and those signs as well that you're getting.
The reward may just be the message. The reward might be the reward may be the message that you're able to hear and sort of interpret, and you're getting to the next stage, the next step. Maybe it's the reward is opening up that communication ability that you've taken for granted, but are now starting to pay attention to.
Yeah. I've been paying attention for the last 3 years. And I did used to see them, but I don't see them too much anymore because I asked them not to because I couldn't have that. It was too much seeing them all the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it kind of drains you a little bit. Yeah. It kind of drains me a little bit into that. So, but I wanted to ask you real quick with the cards, you pick a card to see if there is someone coming into my life. Okay. Because I have been single for a long time.
And it's time, is it?
It is. I'm 63 now. I want to spend my life with someone.
Okay. What card are you pulling there, Liz?
I have the 9 of Pentacles.
Okay. So what do you think? Is somebody coming into your life? I pulled the 3 of Cups.
Interesting. You know, can I combine them?
Yes.
Okay, I think with those two, you know, they're both really positive cards. I think the thing to take from them is almost like saying, you know, keep enjoying your life. Keep getting yourself out there. When I see the 9 of Pentacles, I see someone who has so much to offer. But with the 3 of Cups, it's like you need to make sure that you're still out there, spending time with friends, being seen, being heard, getting noticed. It's like live your life, and someone can come through either a social situation, a friend of a friend, something. But it's almost like you have to be out into the world for them to really see you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm doing more of that now. I'm getting out more, joining meetups, groups, things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Traveling.
Be patient.
Okay.
Be patient, Donna.
Be patient.
Okay. You have a great evening. You have a great evening.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take
Yeah.
care.
That's interesting. I know I've spoken to Donna before, and I have a feeling that Three of Cups has come up from her before. Roz wants to know, Miss Liz. Roz wants to know, you have an incredibly youthful face, and I know you're not ancient like me, but so Roz said to me, what kind of face cream does she use?
Oh.
And I just said it was a magic potion, so there you go.
I always tell people I'm a vampire.
There you go. That works. So before we take the next caller, what is your contact information? So if somebody wanted to arrange a reading with you, how could they do so?
They can just go to lizworth.com.
Okay.
Super easy. Yes.
Absolutely. And do you do psychic events in and around Toronto? Would they run into you at one of those, or just through your website?
They can run into me in Toronto at Likely General on Sunday afternoons, which is shop on Rossville.com.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so if they just want to pop by, do a little walk-in reading, I just do short 20-minute sessions there on Sundays.
Perfect. That sounds awesome.
You can come and meet me. Yeah.
That sounds
really easy to book.
Yeah, and Roncesvalles is such a great, trendy little neighborhood. I like it. It.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's not that far from me, so I like that even better. Okay. We have another caller, and it's caller number 856. Please, Roz.
Hi, this is Laura.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Hey. I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks. And where are you calling from?
I'm in New Jersey.
Okay. And how can we help tonight?
I was wondering what you see for me being able to get a house. I want to be able to purchase a home hopefully within the next 6 months.
Okay. The one you want isn't available yet. Is that right?
Well, I'm doing contract work, so I have to get another contract that's going to be steady.
Okay.
And I have a phone conversation interview coming up tomorrow with a recruiter for a position with the company, and it might be a permanent position. I have to get more information about it from her tomorrow.
Okay.
And we're going to have this conversation around 10:30. So maybe that will work out for me so I can get my home.
Okay. Do you have one that you're sort of looking at?
I have been looking at homes. There's one that's about to come up on the market that a realtor had let me know. She didn't list it yet.
Yeah.
So if I could get a steady job, my mortgage broker told me he would approve me for the loan.
Perfect. Okay, Liz, what do you see?
Okay, I think obviously there are a lot of moving pieces with the situation, right? Because there's certain things that are relying on work and everything like that. But if you're just looking at finding a home, I feel like it's going to take a little while, because the card that came up for me around this is the Hermit, which it makes me think. The Hermit, it can be a really slow moving energy sometimes, and you can sometimes also feel like it is a journey, right? You're sort of on this path, and not always really sure what it's going to lead to. You just have to be really persistent in it, and also be really willing to stick to what it is that you want. because the Hermit asks us to, you know, to really be clear on what it is that we feel is most important to us. So, you know, I think that that with this, you might have options for homes that come up. And I think that there will be pathways that open to you, but finding the place that actually feels right for you is going to take a while. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why I said right at the beginning that I didn't think the house that she wanted was available yet. So it's not even about the contract right now. It's the house that you actually, I see that happening for you, probably not within that 6 months, probably a little longer, but it's going to be you that sort of makes that decision, because everything, by the time you actually pick a house, everything else will have fallen into place for you. Okay.
There have been homes that I really liked.
Yeah.
That the timing just wasn't right.
Yeah, and that happens for a reason, because the house you're meant to be in, it's just not, it's not there for you yet. So there are a couple of things that have to happen for that to be listed.
Do you know the time frame on when this is going to happen?
I'm seeing spring. Late spring, early summer.
Okay. Like so, April?
Late spring, early summer. So May, June.
May, June. That's summer.
Yeah, sorry, it's not what you want to hear, but let's face it, things change every day. But that's what I'm hearing right now is May, June. Okay,
great.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Bye.
You too. Great. So it's interesting, because that's what I kept hearing was the house just wasn't ready yet. And it was echoed in with what you were pulling in cards. So, and that's one of the things it's funny, because I have a client that I see quite regularly, and not that long ago, she said to me, Betty Jane, I think we need to pull cards this time. And I went, oh, okay. She goes, you told me once the cards don't lie. And I was like, well, I don't lie either. But it was really funny, because then we pulled all the cards and she went, well, this is what you tell me. And I went, well, yeah. It was just so funny, but sometimes we need to see it. And it's very interesting. So do you consider yourself a psychic as well as a tarot reader and a writer and everything else?
That's a good question. I don't use the word psychic very often, mainly because it can bring up a lot of other connotations for people. But I do think that tarot and astrology as well, these are very intuitive things. And so, the cards all have meanings, and we can fix those meanings and get a lot just from that alone. But I think that, there are always other things that happen in readings that you can't really explain. And it is a very creative process to put together an interpretation for someone when you're looking at these images, and, you do have to put them into a specific context or answer a specific question. And creativity and intuition, to me, are very connected.
Yes.
So, there's something very intangible and magical that happens when you're looking at cards. Whether you call it a psychic phenomenon, whether you call it intuition, whether you can have all kinds of different names for it. I think that there is something that's just sort of it's hard to explain, right? And I don't know why it works.
It just works,
right?
It just works.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so funny. And I'll post it on my website later, but this morning I was doing some research and I found a quote by Arthur Waite. And it's one of the things he says is the cards have messages. Like, you don't have to go outside the box. The cards have messages. Follow the message. Follow the symbolism in the cards. And I don't have it right in front of me right now, but and it's funny. Obviously, it's something I had written down somewhere. So obviously it resonated with me enough about 5 years ago to make a note of it. And I found it in a random notebook. I thought, okay, now what am I going to do with this? But I like it because it's exactly what you just said. So obviously I was meant to find it today, because there is enough in the cards that it gives us that extra gift. It gives us a starting point.
Yeah, and it makes tarot very accessible, right? It means it's something that everyone can learn. You don't have to necessarily be born into it, or have your great grandmother show you how to do it, or anything like that, right? Like, it's something that I think everyone can
And it's very interesting because, like I've said before, we're different generations here. And I can remember when my grandmothers came to town and people would come to the back door to have their cards read because they didn't want the neighbors to know. But every bloody neighbor on the street was coming to the back door. But I couldn't tell that. I couldn't tell Mrs. Smith that Mrs. Jones was there, that that Mrs. Bell was there, that Mrs. James. They couldn't all know, but they were all there. It was very interesting. But these things happen. And now I look, even when my own kids were small, like you didn't mention that you read tarot because that was the devil's work, especially in small town Canada. It was just not done.
Right.
So it was kind of an interesting perspective. So that brings up another question, but we'll wait till after the next caller. So caller 216, please, Roz.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. How are both of you? Thank you for taking my call. Okay.
And who are we speaking with?
Hi. My name is Sharon.
And where are you calling from?
Ohio.
Oh, cool. And how can we help you tonight?
Well, the same as the first caller, actually. I'm trying to change careers, and you see me getting an offer soon.
Okay. What do you do
right now? I am
interviewing. Okay. What do you do right now?
Well, I did get a job. I did have a new career, and it didn't last. It only lasted 4 weeks.
Okay.
I didn't have enough construction experience for the man that hired me.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay, perfect.
So I guess to say I was still getting calls for interviews because I wasn't there that long. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sounds to me like have we spoken before?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Because it just seems. The reason I asked is it seemed familiar. That's all. As I've said, I don't remember readings and things like that, but sometimes the energy feels normal, feels familiar.
Yep.
So, Liz.
Before I got that job, I talked to you.
Okay.
Before I got the job, I talked to you.
Why do I feel like your other?
I have a contract job.
Okay, because why do I feel like he was a bully? Why do I feel like he was a bully?
Oh my gosh, I can't even fathom. I can't even tell you what a bully was.
Okay.
It was so bad. I've worked with men my whole life. I can't even begin to tell you the kind of personality he had because it's not even in my realm.
Okay.
It was the meanest person I've ever been around. It was so bad. Okay. But it's okay. I hope he finds the right person. That's all I can say.
Okay.
And the fact is, he was only there for 10 months. He hadn't even been there a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds to me like maybe the wrong person left. Okay, Liz, what do you think?
Oh, my gosh. But you were right. You were right on.
Okay. I have to get him out of my mind while I pull your card. Liz, what do you think?
I got mouthy with him, by the way. I did get mouthy with him because he was pushing me around. But let's move on.
Okay. Okay, Miss Liz?
Sometimes you have to stand your ground, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to. I pulled a few cards for you. You have. It's interesting you're talking about getting mouthy. The first card here is the Queen of Swords. So I think, for you, I'll tell you all three cards that you have here. We have the Queen of Swords, the Three of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. Is there, right? So is there going to be an offer? Yeah, I think you have actually a lot coming your way. You're going to have these opportunities because you have that Queen of Swords energy behind you. It's like when you meet people, they feel your presence. So don't feel like you have to hide that. I think that that's actually your asset. Just being very vocal about your experiences, your accomplishments, that you know who you are at this point, that you know what you bring to the table, just sell it. Because when I see that Three of Wands right in the center, I feel like you might have to go through a few rounds of interviews to get to the offer that's really, really great. There might be like a little bit of extra push to give to it, but it's going to come through and it's going to be great. You do see it then. I know you're not good at time, but that's okay. Do you think it's going to be by the end of the year?
Yes. I pulled the Queen of Wands.
Yeah. I do.
I pulled the Queen of Wands. Oops, sorry. I pulled the Queen of Wands. I pulled your card, and I was going through to find the cards for her. But I pulled the Queen of Wands, and that's fire energy. So look at your, so yeah, towards the end of the year, absolutely. I think that you'll have something else before then, but I think that you'll settle, and then you'll find the one that you're meant to be. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm sort of seeing you have that other one, and then you'll have this one. You'll have your happily ever after job.
Okay, that's going to happen, you said, in a couple months.
Yeah. Like I said, you'll have something else. Already. Yeah, so you'll have something else before then, but that's sort of like, my right now. It's like, you have Mr. Right and you have Mr. Right now. So this is like your Mr. Right now job, and then you'll go on to your Mr. Right job.
That's perfect. I know I was blessed, man. My girlfriend's a recruiter. She got me a job within 2 days. I started the following Monday, so I was very lucky, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even out of work, but I'm not staying there. That's how, I'm still interviewing and stuff.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, best of luck there, Sharon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's funny how sometimes you don't get how to know it. So let's remind our guests, our listeners, how to get in touch with you to book a reading.
Yeah, it's just lizworth.com. Really easy.
It is. It's funny because I have a number of different Liz's. I'm Betty, you're Liz. But I'm Betty, not Liz, or not Elizabeth. But Liz Worth, Liz Dean, both very well known to be, one to be a very well known tarot author, and then Liz Dean, who is a very well known tarot author in certain circles. So absolutely. Do you go to the big tarot conference in New York?
Yeah, I actually just booked my registration last week, I think. So I'm all set. I was there as well. It's amazing. Yeah, it's great.
I'm always at a show that weekend, so it never works out for me. Are you going to the one in Kingston?
I am. Yeah, are you going to be there?
Again, I'm teaching in London, England that weekend. So.
Well, it sounds amazing. By the way, I really want to go to Glastonbury. It's on my list. But I'll be at Kingston. I'll be in New York next year, and I'm hoping to also do the Northwest.
Okay, that one I've just been looking into. It's very interesting. It's funny because Glastonbury, I'm doing a retreat there next May. But every year in October, and this year it's the weekend after Thanksgiving weekend, and next year it's the 18th and 19th of October of 2018. They have a lovely UK tarot conference there in London, so you'll have to look at that one too. Awesome. So, yes, let's take another caller, number 561, please, Miss Roz. Hello. Ooh.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello,
how are you?
Good, thank you. Can you hear me?
I can. What's your name, please?
Yes, Stacey, I'm calling from Florida, and I just want to know what you see coming up for work.
Okay, what do you currently do?
I do temp work, so just want to know when my next contract will be.
Okay, cool. I used to do temp work 100 years ago.
All the other callers.
Yeah.
It seems to be the same today.
No, you know what? I think temp work's awesome. I think that if I was to go back into the regular workforce, that's what I would do because I would want the variety. So I think that's pretty cool. Liz, are you pulling cards there?
I am, yeah.
What did you pull?
I feel like I feel like there's going to be a bit of a lull with this one. I don't see anything that's necessarily super exciting rushing your way, but what I see instead is that it's almost like the cards are asking you, do you kind of like doing temp work, or are you sort of like feeling like you need something different at this point?
I mean, I don't mind it. I just like consistently, I like working and utilizing different kind of skills, learning new skills, getting more experience with different companies. I like it. Of course I want something permanent, But, you know, you go on an interview and you're one of many. I interviewed with,
I know.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, when you have the qualifications, they don't ask you. And when you go to the interview, you see a bunch of 20-year-olds there. You know, I mean, I don't want to assume, but, you know, I mean, you understand. It's just, there's competition there. So that's why
absolutely.
Yes, when you do the temping, they just place you without the interview. You know, when you go to interview, you have to go drive here, drive there, and you feel like you're on one real goose chase. I just, you know, want to know, you know, how many temp things till I get a permit? Like, do you see more time gaps?
So what I see is I don't necessarily see here that it's about kind of having a bunch of temp jobs that lead into something permanent. I have the Five of Swords coming up here. And this, for me, you know, the image that I have of the Five of Swords is there's three people in it, but there's one person who's kind of taking all the victory. Which is making me think that as you get into the fall, I feel like there's going to be opportunities coming up for you that you're really going to feel like you want to kind of have that competitive edge over. Which is why I'm asking, you know, are you fulfilled with temp work? Because the sense that I get from these cards is that there's a shift in the air for you in terms of how you feel about what you're doing for work. And it might come as a surprise at first. You know, because sometimes when we have those changes, they feel a bit unexpected, right? But I think that you're going to start to feel this different sense of drive. And there's going to be something that you really want that you're going to feel like you want to go for. And that you're not going to feel like you're going to realize that you're not really in the same position as the other people who you're competing for these jobs for. And you're going to feel like you want to step up and show what you can really do.
Yeah, because I held the job for a decade. I never had this problem before of like temping for the last 3 years. I never had that problem. I stayed at the job for a long time.
You know, it's interesting. Don't take this as you said I had this job for a decade.
Well, sure, it sounds like nothing's going to go on good. That sounds really bad.
No, you know what I'm seeing? I pulled the Fool, which is telling you, you know, it's time for you to take charge, and maybe you have to look at things a little differently. So you've got to get out of that sort of funk.
I revamp my resume.
Yeah.
No, I revamp my resume. That my resume looks great. I get dressed up. I don't understand this.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Don't take it personally. This isn't about you. It's about the economy of everywhere right now. So don't take it personally. So get out of that funk and stop blaming yourself. That's an order. And start paying attention to the details. You are better than this. There is a great opportunity coming for you, but it's in a completely different direction. So don't close yourself off. Get out of that funk because you're not going to find what you're looking for there.
What do you mean a different direction? I've been trying looking for waitress jobs that didn't hire me.
No.
That would be a different direction.
So would self-employment. So would self-employment. So would maybe looking at things that way. So yeah, no, don't sell yourself short. Not that I'm saying being a server is selling yourself short. I'm saying don't settle. Don't do anything like that. I want you to go out there and seize the day and really take control and don't get lost in the details.
No, I applied everywhere. Everything. We're talking about even the supermarket I applied for.
Okay.
Waitressing. You know, customer service. I applied for everything, so I don't limit myself.
Cool, that's great.
I just want to know when the next opportunity's coming, even if it's for, a short time, a stepping stone.
Yeah. I believe that, like I said, I believe that there's opportunity out there. It's about you taking control again. And I know you're saying you've done everything, but you've got to trust me here. It's going to be there.
Well,
stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's going to happen.
Hire me. That's the control. They have to hire me. I can't just,
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know what's going to happen for you. It's just gonna take some time.
I guess I gotta work at McDonald's now. Whatever. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. So we have all run across that in readings. Sometimes it's not necessarily about, I can give you the message. You may not like it. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I am going to give you the message that I get. And sometimes it's not that we weren't saying that, and I think Liz will agree with me here. We weren't saying you're never going to get anything and anything like that. We were saying there are opportunities there. You have to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, just sometimes taking a different approach, thinking about things differently. Yeah. But the thing with reading too is that we can't make something up, right? We have to stick to what the messages are and what the cards are. And so that's also the constraint that we work with, right?
Absolutely.
We say, everything's going to be great, and then it's not. Then it's not really helpful either, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. I could say, you know what, the Lotto Max is tomorrow, and you're going to win, but that's really not likely. So, but it's going to be what you want to hear,
right?
Isn't that great?
Right.
Right. But so it's very interesting. So, what's the next event on Liz's calendar?
That's a good question. For those, for anyone who's interested in learning tarot, I have an online class that starts on September 20th. It's 9 weeks. It is for beginners. It goes really in depth. And that starts on Wednesday, September 20th, and it's every Wednesday until mid-November. And that's also something that you can check out on my website. You can register for it there. All the details are listed at lizwirth.com.
Perfect. Thank you. And for those who are looking, I have a one-day tarot intensive this on Saturday, the 9th of September in Etobicoke, and the details are on my website and on meetup.com as well. And I love doing those one-day workshops where everybody comes and they go out and they're just so excited and learn. Do you do, I hear that I know you do a lot of, I obviously checked out stalked your website. What, do you do your own meetup groups and things like that as well?
I don't do meetup group. I think about it sometimes, but that's as far as I've gotten with that. It's just sort of in the thinking stage. But I love doing one-day workshops as well. I do think, I just love having, a little group of people, sort of making something happen in a few hours. It's super fun. And it's just such a great, community feel as well. And I think that's one of the great things about tarot, right? Is, it's such an easy way to make new friends, connect with other people, find a sense of community. I think there's a lot of generosity within the tarot world, and a lot of readers are very willing to share their knowledge and their skills. And I think that's a big part of what tarot is about.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. And it's really funny because I have a couple people in the UK, and we're always bouncing ideas and things off each other, because what works here might not work there, or it might. And it might be something that hasn't been considered over there. And then I look at somebody like you, who, like I said, who's a little bit younger, and you're looking at a different generational thing and how things like that. What would you say your tarot reading style was?
That's a great question. I really like to get specific with people. I encourage people to bring questions if they have them. I do think that, my style, definitely centers around the idea that, we still have free will, right? And I think that tarot does help us a lot to see what our choices are, what our options are, what our opportunities may be that we might not be seeing, anything that we might have to be thinking about. So I do like to use it as a way to sort of call back our power. But I also do a lot of predictive tarot as well. And I think that it's hard not to be sometimes with tarot, right? Because the cards just kind of have a way of showing you, which paths are ahead. And like I said, I don't think that everything is necessarily written in stone. I think that we always have choices around what those paths may be and whether we choose to go down them. But I definitely like to look ahead a little bit and see what is coming up, what do you have to be aware of, what's around the corner, what's changing. So just combining some of that predictive with that more, empowerment style, I would say is where I fall between those two somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sort of there too. I'm like, predictive, but with a twist, I guess, because somebody told me once, it's like sitting down with your mom, but she's not judging you. And I started that. I don't know that my kids would agree with that, but yeah, it's one of those things. But a lot of people get hung up on that predictive. They don't want to do it. So it's interesting. And it's like the one caller said, she said, you don't see, I've always seen things seasonally, with or without the cards. I've always seen things seasonally. So if I see a fire card, I'm gonna go to the fire signs of the zodiac. And a lot of people might go to the fire signs of the seasons, like the summer. And I'd be going, well, yeah, but it doesn't give me it doesn't pinpoint it enough for me. So interesting.
Yeah, so interesting. You know, everyone has their own techniques, right? And we're all, you know, I think readers will sort of figure out which techniques work best for them. Not everything is going to work for every reader, right? And that's why it's so fun to, you know, to go to different people, get a sense of their styles, find the tarot readers that you really like. Because not every reading is equal. And I think that's one thing people have to keep in mind when they are booking readings with people, is that, you know, maybe you had a great reading with someone. You might not have a great reading with another person, but they could be a great tarot reader at the whole same.
Absolutely.
Right? So it is very unique.
It's very interesting, because I know I watch people at psychic fairs, and you watch them wander around and you think, how are they picking? And I know it's that feeling, that connection. I've been at the psychic fair as both a reader and as a person just getting a reading. And then sometimes you sit there and you go, why are they going to them too? And why are they coming to me too? And I think what you hear is, we might all be giving them the same message, but they may not be hearing it. And you have to get to that person that actually speaks their language. It's like a radio station on the wrong frequency. So you know, you've been an amazing guest tonight, and I want to have you back. Hopefully we can get the video working again. Definitely when that second book comes out. Well, I know there's been other books, but the second tarot book. And so how can our listeners get in touch with you again?
They can find me at lizworth.com.
Perfect. And how long availability do they have to wait?
It really depends. You know, if they want an astrology reading, I often do astrology with a little bit of tarot. I ask for about at least 4 days in advance just to cast the chart.
Okay.
With tarot, I try to keep some spots open for last minute bookings. But it just really all depends. You know, some weeks are busier than others. Right now, and summer is a little bit quieter because a lot of people are away. So if you want to get in last minute, always possible now. Once September hits, it's a bit different.
Oh yeah, every weekend in September I'm gone, so I totally get that.
Yeah.
So again, it's awesome. Thank you so much for giving us your time this evening and answering all those questions. I am going to invite you back anytime. Just drop me a line, especially if you have something to promote. I'd love to have you back. And really, I know we'll meet up in England sometime. And everybody, this book is awesome. Please go to her website and order it, especially being self-published. I know how much she would appreciate it. And hopefully she can get in some of the shops here in Toronto, because this is an awesome book. I really do like it. So please, yes, I really do want to have you back on the show. So I want to thank everybody for timing in tonight, and thank my guest Liz once more. And I will see everybody next week. Thank you very much. Bye.